Oh man. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Oh man. Long day, long day. Well, welcome back, man, to the next edition of Reading with Shilo. With Shilo. What's up? I hope y'all had a good one today. I hope y'all day was very eventful and prosperous. But we are here for the next edition of this book, The Souls of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. We are on chapter 6. We're going into chapter 6 of the training of black men. Of the training of black men. Whew, which is definitely one I want to read. I definitely am curious about this chapter. Definitely curious about this chapter to see what they're talking about. What type of training are they saying that black men need? What type of training do we need? If that's what it's talking about. What type of training we need, or what type of training have we gotten? Did it work? Did it not work? You know, that is the question. That is the question. All right, let's get into it. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. And naked on the air of heaven ride. Weren't not ashamed? Weren't not ashamed in this clay carcass crippled to it. Let's read that again. Why? If the soul can fling the dust aside and naked on the air of heaven ride, weren't not ashamed? Weren't not ashamed for him in this clay carcass crippled to abide? Fitzgerald. From the shimmering swirl of waters where many thought to go, the slave ships first saw the square tower of Japan, have flowed down to our day 3 streams of thinking. One swollen from the larger world here and overseas, saying the multiplying of human wants in culture lands calls for the worldwide cooperation of men in satisfying them. Hence arises a new human unity, pulling the end of earth nearer, and all men, black, yellow, and white. The larger humanity strives to fill in this content, in this contact of living nations and sleeping hordes a thrill of new life in the new world, crying, if the contact of life and sleep be death, shame in such life. To be sure, behind this thought lurks the afterthought of force and dominion. Tell him use what I gave you. Thank you, sir. The making of brown men to delve when the temptation of beads and red calico clothes. The second thought, streaming from the death ship and curving river, is a thought of the older South, the sincere and passionate belief that somewhere between and cattle, God created a turkey and called it a Negro. Let's see what that word is. Tertium quid. It says tertium quid, literally third something, a third something of ambiguous status. A clownish, simple creature, at times even lovable within its limitations, but straightly foreordained to walk within the veil. To be sure, behind the thought lurks the afterthought. Some of them, with favoring chance, might become men, but in sheer self-defense, we dare not let them, and we build about them walls so high and hang between them and the light of veil so thick that they shall not even think of breaking through. And last of all, there trickles down that third and dark thought, the thought of the things themselves, the confused, half conscious mutter of men who are black and white, crying liberty, freedom, opportunity. Vouchsafe to us, O boastful world, the chance of living men. To be sure, behind the thought lurks the afterthought. Suppose, after all, the world is right and we are less than men. Suppose this mad impulse within is all wrong. Some mock mirage from the untrue. So here we stand among thoughts of human unity. Even though conquest and slavery, the inferiority of black men, even if forced by fraud, a shriek in the night for the freedom of men who themselves are not yet sure of their right to demand it. This is the tangle of thought and afterthought wherein we are called to solve the problem of training men for life. Behind all the curiousness, so attractive alike to sage and dilettante, lie its dim dangers. Dilettante, Dilettante, dilettante. Dilettante. Music, etc., without any deep knowledge or application. A dilettante. Behind all its curiousness, so attractive alike to sage and someone who dabbles in art, dilettante, lie its dim dangers, throwing across us shadows of once grotesque and awful. Plain it is to us that what the world seeks through desert and wild we have within our threshold. A stalwart laboring force, suited to be semi-tropics. If, deaf to the voice of the zeitgeist, we refuse to use and develop these men, we risk poverty and loss. If, on the other hand, seized by the brutal afterthought, we debauch the race thus caught in our talons, selfishly sucking their blood and brains in the future as in the past, what shall save us from national decadence? Only the saner selfishness, which education teaches men, can find the rights of all in the world of work. Again, we may decree the color prejudice of the South, yet it remains a heavy fact. He's done. Tell him wipe his butt. Tell him wipe his butt. Again, we may decree the color prejudice of the South, yet it remains a heavy fact. Such curious kinks of the human mind exist and must be reckoned with soberly. They cannot be laughed away, nor always successfully stormed at, nor easily abolished by act of legislature. And yet, they must not be encouraged by being let alone. They must be recognized as facts, but unpleasant facts, things that stand in the way of civilization and religion and common decency. They can be met in but one way, by the breadth and broadening of human reason, by Catholicism, a taste and culture. And so too the native ambition and aspiration of men, even though they be black, backward, and ungraceful, must not lightly be dealt with.